Gold hit a new record price of $2,203 an ounce US. It's as if the gold was in stealth mode though. Nobody seems to be noticing. And in fact, some of you I'm sure knew that gold had hit new highs this week, but I'll bet that a bunch of you watching this video didn't know that gold had hit new highs. Because gold, you'd think if it's hitting new highs and advancing, that it would be in the news, right? That people would be talking about it, that everyone would be aware of it. But no, not this time. This time we have gold doing a stealth mode advance. Gold has been doing well in spite of fairly high interest rates and a pretty strong dollar. Usually high interest rates and strong dollar work against gold, but in spite of the fact that those two are not doing that bad, gold has been advancing steadily for a couple of months. And the funny thing is, a lot of experts are just confused. They don't know what's going on. I mean, I read things that like, hey, gold is going to be going down soon, so you better sell what you have before you lose any money. Another expert said that if you do buy gold, you should hope that it doesn't go up, because if gold goes up, it's because of bad things are happening. And if bad things are happening, you shouldn't be hoping for that. The same article also assured gold buyers that gold just doesn't do very well over a long length of time, that, the returns are not very good. And that I like these kinds of things because you can pick and choose dates. So you pick and choose a time after gold has gone up, and then, compare it to stocks or whatever. You can get whatever results you want depending on the days you pick, the years and whatever the time period that you're comparing the two. So, that kind of stuff is always funky. But gold's new rally, and I am telling you it's gonna continue, gold's new rally really has a lot of those quote unquote experts scratching their head thinking, what's going on? The truth is that gold does do better in rough times. It's a hedge. It's a protection against difficult times. That's why people buy it. Gold has done well recently when we had the big recession and during the initial stages of COVID when everybody was afraid. It's a hedge against fear and difficulty. Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and today we're talking about gold going up in price and what you should do about it. What the gold going up in price really means to you, especially in this stealth mode kind of advance. The truth is, when gold really reaches a full top, when it's reached its maximum price that it's going to reach for a while, everybody and his brother are talking about gold. You might go to a restaurant and the guy in the next booth is saying, yeah, I'm going to mortgage my house and buy a bunch of gold. You'll hear kind of crazy stuff like that because everybody's into it, everybody's doing it. When Bitcoin reached a high, it was like that. People talk to me and say, you ought to be buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and then once everybody in the world was talking about it and everybody in the world had bought everything they could, then the price went like that, right off a cliff. Now, the truth is, with this gold advance, Bitcoin's been advancing too. But still, there's not the excitement over Bitcoin either. So it's the same kind of thing. When people aren't excited, it's the beginning of a move upward. And that's what I'm telling you. We have in our hands right now the beginning of a big move upward for gold. Some of the experts that aren't saying that you should sell your gold because it's going to go down or aren't, arguing against gold, some of the ones that are in favor are saying, hey, gold's got plenty of room to run and you're going to be seeing prices at $2,400 an ounce, $2,500 an ounce, even more. And heck, today we already achieved $2,200 an ounce, although it only spiked up that high briefly and dropped down a couple of $20 or something like that to close, in the 60s or the 80s, something like 21, 60, 70, something like that. The experts that are trying to figure out why gold is going up. Some of them say that it's because an anticipation that interest rates are going to go down. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell recently had some speeches where he said that, the Fed was looking at that. They weren't quite ready yet. They needed a little more data, but that it seemed like pretty soon that they would be lowering interest rates. And the traders on Wall Street are betting 70-something% that they will be starting to lower interest rates by the time we get to June, which is only a few months away. So why do they think that when the Fed lowers interest rates or we have a weak economy, why does that help gold? Well, the truth is that the people who invest in bonds and things like that, because actually, believe it or not, the bond market is really huge. When interest rates are going down, the price of your bonds are also going down and may go down easily faster than the interest you receive. So you may have a bond that yields 8% or something like that, but if the interest rates are going down, your price of your bond may go down 10 or 15%. So the interest you get you're still losing money. But when the rates go down, they have to find some place to put their money to stabilize the money. And a lot of times when interest rates are going down, it's because the economy is bad. The guy who said, you should hope that the price of gold doesn't go up because it means bad things are happening. It's true. The economy is starting to show weakness. And so the Fed is starting to talk about things that they need to do to help stimulate the economy and getting it going. Inflation is wreaking havoc. A friend of mine sent me a text message the other day saying that in his town, a Big Mac meal was now $17. And that's crazy. In here it's a lot cheaper in Nevada, but even so, the price of things is going up. And there's no doubt about, on the news, you may hear politicians saying, "Oh, inflation is only 3%. Well, yeah, you tell that when you go to the store and you're buying stuff that's 20 or 30% more than it was a year or year and a half ago. Like I say, gold's price is closely tied to interest rates. And because gold doesn't yield any interest, right? You hold a pile of gold, it doesn't bear interest. It's not like having money in bonds. If you have money in bonds and the price of the bonds aren't going down, then you get that interest, right? But with gold, you're not getting any interest. And so you have a choice between a bond that's going down in price and you're losing money, or gold that even is just stable. Gold is actually a better investment. And it turns out that when the bonds are going down, a lot of times the gold is going up. So you get off of the elevator that's going down and get on the elevator that's going up. And that's what's happening. People are looking for lower interest rates as a sign that gold will be doing better in the future. Another safe haven thing about gold is that it's a safe haven in times of turbulence and trouble. And, we've been having this ongoing war in Ukraine, and for the last few months, terrible war in Gaza, and things are really, uncertain. And, there's talk in a lot of Muslim nations that they want to spread the war in Gaza throughout the whole world and, start fighting. And it's not a good thing. So it's a time of turbulence, and in times of turbulence, that's a time when a lot of people turn to gold for stability and portability. It's wealth you can take with you. You may not have seen this in the news. I certainly didn't. But President Putin of Russia has threatened that if any nations start actually sending troops into Ukraine, he'd start dropping atomic weapons. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what would. And that makes a lot of people turn to gold. Several data points from the U.S. government has been indicating a weaker economy in the United States. And, politicians have been touting, hey, inflation seems to be going down a little bit. And it is going down a little bit, like in the last couple months. It's not increasing quite as fast as it was. The reason it's not increasing quite as fast as it was is because the economy is doing worse and there's not the ability to increase prices. And so in manufacturing and construction, we're seeing indications that the economy is starting to turn to the south. And then additionally, in the last week, unemployment numbers ticked up and started to look worse again. And that's another sign that the economy isn't doing well. Finally, something called the ISM Purchasing Managers Index. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's an index that if the number for that index is above 50, then the economy is growing. And if the number is below 50, then the economy is shrinking. And the further above 50, the faster it's growing. The further below 50, the more it's contracting. And the number, they had expected it to be 49.5, meaning that it was contracting just a little bit. But the number came in at 47.5, which was much less, showing that the economy is contracting at a significant rate. And so it does look like, we may have a recession coming in the next 6 months to a year. A recession, of course, would indicate a stock market correction and likely the stock market going down, but it would be supportive to the price of gold going up. Another important cause of the move up is foreign central bank buying. It turns out that a number of foreign central banks have been buying significant amounts, like tons of gold for their reserves. You may not know this because this also didn't appear in the news, but the US and the European Union confiscated about $300 billion worth of Russian assets. That basically when they invaded Ukraine, we said, fine, we're taking your foreign reserves that are in our countries. Well, I'm sure this gets all countries to start thinking, China and elsewhere, it's like, do we really want our foreign reserves held by the United States or other countries? No, we want to hold them ourselves. And so you see they go out and start buying gold as something that they can hold themselves and not have to trust the US or the European Union that if they do something politically unacceptable, that will just confiscate your money. And again, these foreign banks, they're on top of things. They know what they're looking for. And so they're going to be out there buying when they think the price of gold is going to be going up. And you can see that a number of countries are really making a foray into the gold market to start buying gold. And a lot of experts think that foreign central bank buying is a big push that helps gold keep going up. Now, the foreign central banks were buying gold hand over fist in 2023 too. And the same indicators, the same factors that were involved in pushing banks to buy gold is the same factors that are existing now in 2024. And it's expected that, it will continue to grow. And in fact, they already have results from January, and January showed that these banks were again very active in buying large amounts of gold for their economies. And in fact, in total, the central banks that do report this reported that in January they increased their reserves, this is all of the countries combined, by 39 tons of gold. So foreign central banks bought 39 tons of gold in the month of January. And this was more than double the amount that they actually bought in December. It makes for the 8th consecutive month of net purchases. In other words, some banks sell, some banks buy, and the net, total is for 8 months in a row, it's been increasing. The largest buyer of all those was the Central Bank of Turkey, which bought 12 tons of gold for their central reserves. The People's Republic of China was not far behind, buying 10 tons of gold for their reserves on the open market. The Reserve Bank of India added nearly 9 tons of gold to their reserves. And so all these numbers from January and from 2023 support the notion that for the rest of 2024, we're going to be having another year where the foreign central banks are very active in buying gold. Now, in the Western countries like the US and the European nations, a lot of especially younger buyers have switched over to Bitcoin and no longer really pay attention to gold because they're going after the crazy up and down of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But the drop in demand from American and European buyers, because they're switched over to Bitcoin, is being more than made up by the Chinese citizenry. And it's not just old grandmas and grandpas that are, buying a little gold for their nest egg. No, it's the young people in China are getting into buying lots of gold. A very strong Lunar New Year saw Chinese buyers buying lots of gold as a hedge against their beleaguered stock market. Their stock market is not doing so good, and far worse even is their real estate market, which is in real trouble. No, it's a fact that Chinese safe haven buyers are definitely a significant source of buying for gold and increasing the price because they want the safe haven protection from gold. And while gold was rallying to a fresh record, other metals were also going up. It's not just gold, although the other metals were not going to new highs. Palladium popped back over the $1,000 an ounce level, silver popped back over the 24 an ounce level, and platinum popped back over the $900 an ounce level. Now, the price of palladium, about 80% of palladium buying comes from the automobile market because it's a critical element in the automotive catalysts that reduce the emissions from gasoline-fueled automobiles. And the price of palladium went down 39% in 2023 because a lot of manufacturers switched over to platinum because platinum actually was much cheaper than palladium. It's interesting because a decade or more ago, the situation was reversed. Platinum was super high and the auto manufacturers were using platinum, so they switched to palladium because it was cheaper. Well, that worked for a while until the price of palladium got too high. Now they're switching back to platinum as the source for the catalyst. But even so, the market for these platinum group metals is strong. So there's no question that this new rally in gold, this stealth rally, if you will, caught many market experts off guard. They didn't expect it. And even, it kept going up and going up. Nobody noticed. And finally, now that gold is making new highs, now they're starting to notice, but they're still not in favor of it. They're still saying, if you buy gold, you should hope that it doesn't go up. That really was what one article that I read. It seems silly, but that's what the experts are saying. And now, while few people, including the experts, are paying any attention to gold and the price of gold, now's the time to invest. And so we're going to talk a little bit about investing in gold. And, I'm going to make my comments and tell what I think about it. But if you guys have your own thoughts about investing in gold or pairing up with Bitcoin or whatever, put them down in the comments. I answer all my comments. So, put them down in here and we'll talk about the opportunities for investing in gold. Now, the first one I want to talk about is the favorite of many, the physical gold. And you can buy bullion type coins, or you can buy bars, or you can buy stuff like this. This is a St. Gaudens $20 gold piece. Old United States coin. This one is a 1910. Okay. Minted when my grandfather was 2 years old. In any case, the gold coins have value, and certainly they're stamped and marked and approved by the U.S. Mint. And so there's a one. Some people like them, some people don't. It's my preference, my personal preference. But the bullion coins or bullion bars, a lot of people have that. Of course, you can have it with you. You can take it with you. In case of bad things happening, you can carry your gold value with you, which you can't say for bank accounts and other things. Your gold is in your hand with that. So, there's certainly a market for physical gold. The next one I'm going to talk about a little bit is ETF, exchange traded funds. And these are funds that are regulated and they hold a certain amount of gold in them. And as more people buy, they add more gold. If people sell, they take gold out of there. So they're able to hold an amount equal to or pretty close to what the people own within them. You buy an ounce, and there's advantages to it too. If you have physical gold, it's harder to sell, to turn it into cash. It takes a little bit, it's not that it's impossible or anything, but it takes a little bit of time. Whereas with an exchange traded fund, you can literally log on when the market's open and trade your shares of that or the gold and silver you have in that into cash if that's what you want to do. So, I'm sure a lot of people will say that it's bad, but there's some advantages to it, and certainly a lot of people take opportunity with that. Finally, the other thing I want to talk about is gold mining stocks. The next to last thing I want to talk about is gold mining stocks. And the way stocks work is, if you have a company that mines gold, if gold goes up 20%, well, the stock may go up 50%. And so you have leverage to the price of gold that you can make a lot of money on. And a number of experts on gold mining stocks have been saying that the value of the mining stocks compared to the good price of gold is just kind of a crazy thing. Right now, the value of the stocks are super low, and once gold moves up significantly and you start to have excitement over the price of gold, the gold mining stocks are going to move even faster. And so not only do you get the leverage, but for right now, gold mining stocks just don't get a lot of attention or a lot of interest. And so, they just don't get the gold that they're the value that they should have. Now for me, ask what do I? Well, I have all of these. I have physical gold in the form of coins. I have some ETF. It's not gold. The ETF I have is silver. But I also have mining stocks. I have more than 1 million shares of gold mining stocks. It's a lot of stocks. Now they're penny stocks, don't get me wrong. It's not like I have $1 million of stock or 1 million shares of a stock that's worth $50 a share. No, it's 1 million shares of a stock that's worth 5-10 cents a share. So even so, it has good value, but I have some of those. But the thing I recommend the most to you guys, the thing that I think is the best, the thing that I enjoy the most, the thing that's most important to me is the go and find your own gold. Now, that's what most of my videos are about. I talk about ways to find gold with metal detectors, with sluice or pan, all different ways of finding gold. A hard rock and crushing it and getting the gold out of it. That's my expertise, is finding gold. And I have, quite a bit of gold from this category because I just don't sell mine. For me, I save it as a reserve. I put it in a safety deposit box, and it's gold that's there for me in case I need it. So that's also my physical gold that I keep. And some of you may criticize me for having it in a safety deposit box, but there's a certain safety of not having it at your house where people can come and steal. I'm a known YouTuber, and if I were to stay here on my channel and say, hey, I got pounds of gold in my house, come steal from me, that's attracting an element that I don't want to attract. So if you come to my house, you won't find much gold. You'll find virtually nothing. You'll find it in my safety deposit box, and you'll need to go to the bank to get that, and that could be a problem. So this coin, I got it out of my safety deposit box just so I could do it for this video, but it's going back in where I can have a safe assurance that my gold is going to stay where it's at. Now, finding your own gold is a skill, and I talk about that in a number of my videos. It's, You can't just go out and walk out knowing absolutely nothing and just go start picking up gold nuggets off the ground. Yeah, gold is $2,200 or so, it was today, an ounce, because it's rare. It's valuable in part because it's rare. If it were all over the place, you could just go out and pick up pounds, you wouldn't be so expensive. And so it's rare, and it takes skill to find it. And, a lot of my videos talk about that, but I also wrote a book to impart to you that skill of being able to go out and find your own gold, to know what you need to know to be successful at gold prospecting. And my book, it's a great book. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now.
So this is my book, Fistful of Gold. You can see it's an encyclopedia distilling down my 45 plus years of prospecting experience plus my degree into the parts that you need to know. I spent most of 10 years writing this. It was not just a simple effort that, I sat down and wrote it. You can see it's like 250,000 words. It's not something you're going to read through in a day or maybe even a week or more. But it's got a lot of information and reference material that you can come back to. You can read it once and read it again and get more out of it because there's just that much depth of material in this. I wrote this book because I want you to have the skills to go out and find fistfuls of gold for yourself. And if you have the skills and know what you're doing and get out in the field and make a real effort, you can find significant gold. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you that because, gold, it wouldn't be, close to $2,000 an ounce, which is what it is right now. It wouldn't be so expensive if it was easy to find. It's not easy. You just can't walk out into an old gold field and start picking up nuggets. If the gold was easy to see and find, the old timers would have picked it up and taken it themselves. So you got to have skill. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to master what it takes to find gold, and you've got to have the persistence and put in the effort to find the material, to find the gold or diamonds or gemstones that you're looking for. Now, this book has geology, it has facts about gold, it has stuff about diamonds and platinum, but it's mostly about gold deposits, how gold deposits form, how placer and nuggets form, all the questions you've probably wanted to ask. The book is available on Amazon, and I'll put a link to it in the description below, but you can look up on Amazon, Fistful of Gold, and by Chris Ralph, and find this book. Now, the book, if you look on it, it has a very high rating. It has like a 4.7 or 4.8 out of 5, which is really high. I mean, it's hard to please everybody, but I'm close to a 5 out of 5, not far from it, right? So it's been out. I've sold more than 15,000 copies of this book, and I've had tremendous response, tremendous positive response by the people who buy it. And I think if you buy it, you'll be just as happy with it. Now, in addition to my book, I also have a website that I do, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my website and show you some images from the website right now.
Now, my website is nevadaoutbackgems.com, and I'll put a link to the prospecting page, this prospecting encyclopedia page, down in the description below, but you can find it at Nevada Outback Gems. I sell some jewelry, turquoise, other gemstones there. I don't always keep the inventory perfectly up to date, so if you're interested in anything you see, do contact me first before trying to send me money or anything, because I want you to be able to get what you order. But the website has lots of different stories, old adventures, even some stories, true stories from the old-time miners of the 1800s. So I think it's something you'll find interesting.
The other thing I want to go back to is that all my comments, I want you guys to ask questions on the comments for my videos. I answer 100% of the comments that are made on my videos. Now, sometimes if somebody just says, hey, great video, I really enjoyed it, the comment may just be, well, I'm really glad you liked it. Or if it's a simple question, And sometimes I get people who ask me questions, oh, it would take a book to answer that question. And I recommend that they just buy the book. But I answer all my questions. I try to help people as much as I can. I'm here to help you. So if you're interested in gaining the skills, if you're interested in knowing what you need to know to be successful, follow along with me. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that they'll let you know when I come out with new videos, and I try to do that pretty much every Saturday morning. And you'll enjoy with me, you'll come along with me, we'll have an adventure together, and we will find some nice gold and see what it's really like getting out in the woods, or the deserts, or the mountains, wherever we land, wherever the gold is, wherever the diamonds are, wherever the platinum is. Come along, we'll have some fun. And I'll see you real soon on the next video.